What's up, everyone? Robbie D. I'm back here on the KITCHEL Sports Network, and it's the best time of the year, in my opinion. It's college football time. Time to break down all the conferences, all the teams, your Heisman Trophy pick, national champion. I'm not going to go as in-depth as I did last year with every single conference, partially because I just don't have the time. But here's your super preview for all the major conferences, your BCS busters, your Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, underrated, overrated teams, anything else you can think of. It's a more broader view, but you're going to get everything in this episode. Just a few announcements as well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/RobbieDKitchel. You can catch up on everything going on, my YouTube page, and then anything else that's going on in my life as well, as you guys care to know. Also, don't forget to listen to my Monday night radio show. Links on the bottom. 5 to 7 p.m. Monday nights here in West Lafayette, Indiana. We talk everything sports, so be sure to tune into that. And then also, don't forget to tune in to Game Time Live. JB and KB over there in Seattle, Washington. 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. That means that's 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. I go on 4:30 p.m. on Thursdays to talk college football and any other college sports or sports in general that they want to talk about. I go ahead and do that with them. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off in alphabetical order with the conferences, and we'll go to the ACC. My pick about a couple weeks ago was North Carolina to win the ACC. They had 10 starters returning on offense, 9 starters returning on defense. Now that huge scandal they have with academics and money laundering and all that stuff, why can't college football just be clean anymore? Same with basketball. But the team, if I'm going to pick, that's going to win the ACC now, and I said last year it was Georgia Tech. I'm off that bandwagon a little bit, and I'm on to a new one. And it's all about the U, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to South Beach. The Miami Hurricanes are my team to win the ACC this year. People will wonder, well, you know what? They're not really at the top yet. They're not at the summit. Well, their offense is good enough to do it. Ja'Cory Harris is a fantastic quarterback. He's got some good receivers in LaRon Byrd and Leonard Hankerson. And then that defense is finally starting to get that swagger back. Allen Bailey and Brandon Harris are two guys you got to keep an eye on. And then linebacker Colin McCarthy was one of the best in the team last year. He's their returning tackler leader from a year ago. If it's anything that's going to halt Miami, though, it's the schedule. 3 of their first 4 games are on the road at Ohio State, at Pittsburgh, and at Clemson. Other teams to look out for, Georgia Tech, obviously. Virginia Tech's going to be a team. North Carolina's still going to get in the mix. And then my underrated team from the conference in the ACC is Boston College, just because they bring back a lot of talent. They bring back their starting quarterback. They're going to get back their linebacker, Mark Herzlich, and that's definitely going to be a big need from that team. And you know what? It's always great to have guys like Herzlich back on the team. Let's go to the Big East now. And there's a lot of good teams in the Big East this year. UConn, Cincinnati. I think Rutgers could make a run for it. South Florida will make their name in there. So there's a lot of good teams, as well as Pittsburgh with Deion Lewis. But the team I like the most is in Morgantown, West Virginia, and it's the West Virginia Mountaineers. Noel Devine and Jock Sanders. 2 guys that are just fast as lightning. They only stand about 5'7", 180 apiece, but they make up a lot of ground quickly, and when they get behind the offensive line, they're kind of hard to find. But we know West Virginia's offense is great. What makes them so good this year is that defense. 2 preseason All-Americans in the secondary, Brandon Hogan and Robert Sands. By the way, if you want to try to throw deep on West Virginia, good luck, because Sands stands 6'5", and he's their free safety. So moving on to the Big 12, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska. Those are your top 3 teams. Those are going to be the 3 teams that will contend for the title this year. If I had to pick one, though, I think Oklahoma and Texas just lost too much talent from last year. So I'm taking Nebraska. I mean, yeah, no Ndamukong Suh this year for the Cornhuskers, but 10 starters are back on offense from an O that was just pitiful last year, 99th in the country. But Zach Lee's back, Roy Halou, he's got Niles Paul and Mike McNeil running in the receiving corps, and a great offensive line. Then the defense, the black shirts are finally back. Jared Prick, phenomenal defensive tackle. Prince Amakamara is a standout cornerback that's going to be very good in the NFL next year once he graduates this season. So I like the Cornhuskers. Moving on now to the Big Ten. You got Ohio State, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and maybe Penn State. Those are your top 4 teams. My pick to win the Big Ten this year is a little bit of a shocker, I know. I'm taking Wisconsin. I'm taking the Badgers. A lot of people will question me as to, well, why are you taking Wisconsin? Well, one thing, they have a solid rushing game with John Clay and Zach Brown. That's the 1-2 punch of running back, and Clay's only a junior. Imagine if he comes back for his senior year. He'd go along the lines with Ron Dane, Brian Calhoun, P.J. Hill. I mean, you could go down the list. Wisconsin has so many great backs. But the big thing that Wisconsin has this year that I like so much is their offensive line. All 5 starters are coming back on the offensive line from a year ago. Gabe Karimi and John Moffitt on the left side are probably 2 of the best offensive linemen you'll find in the country. And then the defense, they got to replace 3 starters on the defensive line, but still J.J. Watt is a phenomenal guy on the end. Homer St. Jean and Chris Borland are fabulous linebackers. And then Jay Valai is that standout secondary guy and that leader in the secondary that you need to really make a deep run in the Big Ten. I know Ohio State's definitely a team that can make a run. That game in Madison with Wisconsin and Ohio State will be a great game to watch. Iowa's another team that's creeping up on them. Penn State could definitely have a shot. I hope Purdue gets in the mix, but not likely. Northwestern, Michigan State are 2 other teams to keep an eye on as well. Moving on to the Pac-10 now, and USC with the whole suspension scandal with Reggie Bush, all that garbage, that's going to set them back 2 years, so they won't be able to win the Pac-10 this year, and my pick to win will be the Oregon Ducks. There's no Jeremiah Masoli. I know that's definitely going to be a setback for this team, but still, LaMichael James, Lavagie Tunde, DJ Davis, Jeff Mail, everyone on the offensive line is back. You got Kenny Rowe and Casey Matthews pacing that defense. If there's a team in the Pac-10 to keep an eye on, there's 2. Stanford, Andrew Luck is back, and Washington, Jake Locker's in for his senior year. So 2 teams in the Pac-10 to definitely watch out for. Now to the SEC, and this one is a packed conference because you got teams like Florida, LSU, Arkansas, Auburn, but my 5th team, and the team that is going to win it, it's the national champions from last year. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Way too much talent on offense, but their defense is going to be, it's going to follow a little behind in the offense's footsteps. With only 2 returning starters, but they're 2 very good returning starters. Dante Hightower is one of the best linebackers in the country, and then Mark Barron is a fabulous, strong safety. It's a hard hitter, and he's a great guy who can cover ground as a cornerback if they want to move him into that area. So your BCS busters, obviously TCU and Boise State. Boise State, and actually I should say both teams, very tough games to start out the season. TCU starts off in Arlington, Texas against Oregon State, and Boise State starts off on the other side of the country in Landover, Maryland against a very good Virginia Tech team. So if either of these 2 teams are going to go undefeated again, they're not going to do it as easy as they did last year. So it's going to be fun to watch both of those 2 teams try to keep up their run towards maybe winning a national championship this year. Now let's move on to the Heisman Trophy winner. And there's a lot of guys you can talk about. I said Ryan Mallett, Terrell Pryor, Dion Lewis. Can Mark Ingram repeat this year? A lot of names, and it's wide open, even with the returning Heisman Trophy winner. But my guy to win it this year, and I'm going to turn some heads here, but it's in Corvallis, Oregon. That's right. With the Oregon State Beavers, I'm taking Jacquizz Rodgers, a 1,400-yard rusher a year ago, 20 touchdowns on the ground. His junior season, he had that standout freshman year we all know about, but he's got a great offensive line returning, a new quarterback. Sean Canfield has graduated, so he's going to take over the bulk of that offensive output. So expect a 1,500, 1,600-yard rushing season, a good offensive line. Defense will help them a little bit, but if they win the Pac-10 and he puts up solid numbers over 1,600 yards rushing, watch out. Now let's move on to my national championship game. 2 teams that most people won't expect. One of them, though, does have a legitimate shot. It's Boise State. If they can get through Virginia Tech, if they can get through Oregon State, and then they have a couple decent matchups in the WAC with Nevada, Idaho, and Fresno State, I think it's set up perfectly for them. I don't think anyone's going to be able to beat them. But my other team to make the national championship, and brace yourselves for a little bit, strap in your seatbelts because this one's going to shock you a little bit. Madison, Wisconsin. That's right, folks. I'm picking Boise State, Wisconsin in the national championship game. I think the biggest thing that helps them out here, great leadership on the offensive line. Scott Tolzien's back as a senior, and they have a great rushing game and a great defense. But Boise State will win the national championship in 2010, 2011. Mark it down, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be a fantastic college football season, and I hope you get to experience it with me. Highlights on Thursdays. I'll have probably Ohio State Marshall and Utah versus Pittsburgh. Those are the 2 big games coming up on Thursday night that I will have highlights for. So keep it here, keep it locked. It's going to be a great college football season. Leave your comments and your feedback on the bottom line as well so I can see what you guys think about my picks. I know they're a little crazy and they're a little different. So don't forget to catch up with everything else going on in the world of college football, but also make sure you watch everything going on here with the KITCHEL Sports Network this year in college football. Take care, guys, and I'll see you later.